afternoon, hello and welcome. You're with your stocks. I'm Samira Abdi and with me is Nigel D'Souza. Well, for the market, we're pretty much at the lows of trade. So 78.02 was the low point of the session today, and we're pretty much close to it. So the key indices have taken a tumble of nearly 0.8% for the Nifty. The Sensex is down nearly 180 points right now, and it looks like 7,800 is going to be tested today. For the mid caps, well, the fall is pretty much in line with the frontliner, so it's about 1% in terms of a cut there, and the Bank Nifty is seeing a slightly exaggerated fall, but not too much out of line compared to what the other indices are doing. The market breadth though is not too bad. So it's just about 2:1. So there are 500 stocks advancing as against 922 on the NSE, which are declining. And in terms of what's not doing well, it's the metal pack, which is hurting in trade. Capital goods is not doing well. Consumer durables, many auto stocks as well are not doing well in trade at the moment. Hi, Nigel.
That's right, Sumera. If we just take a look at it, the European markets as well, they're struggling. They open up in the green with mild gains. Now, in fact, all those three indices are trading in the red. Just pull up the CAC, the DAX, and the FTSE. I think has lost the most, because that's down closer on 0.7% as we speak. Pull up all the three European markets, they're up for you on the screen, and just take a look at the FTSE. That's down 0.8%. Remember, all those three markets, they open up mildly in the green, and now in fact they have swung around. The volumes as well on the lower side, if you just take a look at it, so the volume picture as well should come up for you on the screen. In fact, only around 9,000 crores is what we have done at this point of time. Not looking too good. Let's see whether or not that 7,800 mark can be defended in today's trade. Just pull up IGL. I think that stock was trading with a gain of closer on 1% just around 10 minutes back. IGL has sold off suddenly, and you have Adani Enterprises as well. That stock as well has come in for a bit of a knock in the last few minutes. So just take a look at that. Both those two stocks should come up for you. IGL losing a bit, and we also have Adani Enterprises that's moved to the low point of the day.
All right, so that's the way the market is looking, but let's get started because there'd be quite a few worried investors. So Sharmila Joshi of sharmilajoshi.com joins in to answer all our stock queries, and in a bit we'll also get Harsh Roongta to answer all the personal finance queries. But let's get started. Our first query comes in from Arpit Singh Nair, who writes to us from Gurgaon. He says he has 100 shares of JK Tyre at 137, so he's making a bit of a loss there. He wants to know if the stock will reach the level of 140 again. Well, it's looking difficult for tire stocks. Sharmila, first of all, good afternoon. There's been so much dumping by the Chinese makers that the tire industry anyways, it's reeling under stress. Do you see 140 back on JK Tyre?
Yes, I think precisely they're dealing with multiple pressure points. I think the latest being the fact that this whole devaluation means that Chinese goods will be available even cheaper. I think even prior to that, the tire industry had been, that had been their most common complaint, that what do you do with, the cheaper Chinese tires that are getting in. I think the good news for the tire companies has been the fact that because all commodities have corrected, so has rubber, and that certainly means that their bottom lines have been quite healthy, over the last year or so. But I think precisely that unless you see some sort of a way out of this situation, whereby you either have some kind of some kind of laws in place that don't allow so much dumping from the Chinese, or you actually get a sense of what the market is in terms of what is the percentage of the market that is getting affected by this. So it's going to be some time before you really see it go back to that 140 level. Though from a valuation perspective, it would seem that 140 is possible given the fact that earnings have been fairly strong for JK Tyre. So I think stay put. Don't try to average at this price. I think if you have to average, wait for the dips to come, and if you see the stock, because my sense is that the stock will really correct a little more before you see it go up. And I think you'll have a scenario maybe a couple of 1 year or 1.5 years down the line where you will see a pickup in volume, because I think that's been another concern, that the improvement has only been because margins have been better because of lower rubber prices, but there's no real great volume improvement. So if you see better volumes and you continue to see rubber prices stay low, then that could take the stock back up to that 135, 140 level. So I think for the moment, just stay put.
All right, then that's the view coming in on JK Tyres. Pull up MRF as well. I think that stock has taken a bit of a tumble in the last room. Just pull up MRF. It should be up for you on the screen. Not looking too good as we speak. That's moved to the low point of the day. And the other few stocks that I was just looking at, IDFC as well as South Indian Bank, both of them have taken a knock. Just pull both those two stocks up, you'll see that they've suddenly slid in the last minute. Look, take a look at IDFC. That's what's happened in the last two to around 3 minutes. South Indian Bank as well selling off. So the market now getting a little brittle, though the 7,800 mark is yet being defended. But let's go to our next caller. We have Vikram who calls us from Kolkata. And let's hear out his query. Hi Vikram.
Hi, how are you?
Very good Vikram. How are you and how can we help you?
Yeah, see, everybody is talking about right now is talking about, say, pharma, auto industry, durable, consumer durables. What about fertilizers and other sectors?
Okay.
From 2 to 3 years of perspective.
Yeah. All right. And Vikram, I just want to know, do you have a portfolio? Are you a trader? Are you an investor? 3 years.
Trader and investor both, you can say.
So currently, do you have some exposure currently in some shares?
Yeah.
All right. So you're looking at a 3-year time horizon. So I'll consider you actually as an investor. Sharmila, how can we help him out? He wants to know whether the fertilizer sector looks good. What do you think? Should he touch it or should he just stay away from it?
So, I think clearly the reason why we aren't seeing, so much of a fancy for fertilizers is, of course, the fact that more fancied sectors are now available cheaper because of, the recent market correction, and people do tend to look more closely at defensives at times like this. But since his time horizon is about 3 years, I think, therefore then it might, maybe he can therefore look at fertilizers, because I think with that kind of a time horizon in mind, there will come a time when, mid caps, and then within the mid cap space, fertilizers will find favor again. And within that basket, I think I personally like Tata Chemicals at this price, and I like United Phosphorus. So I think, these could be two stocks that he could look at.
All right, thanks for that. I guess it's time now for us to take a very quick break. We'll come back in a bit, but we'll continue answering your queries. Also, Harsh will join us. So do stay tuned. We're back in a bit.
CNBC TV18, celebrating 15 years of leadership.
Welcome back. Then the Nifty still down good 55 points, but among all this, there's one stock that's popped up. I think Amtech Auto, it always moves a higher and low, and today's trading session itself, it corrected close to around 10% from the high point of the day. Now it's pulled back some of those gains. Just take a look at that stock. It moved higher, while the rest of the indices is sitting with mild cuts of around 0.7 to around % approximately. But let's get to our next caller. Then we have Vipul who calls us from Gujarat, and he has a personal finance query. Hi Vipul.
हाय सर.
हाय, हाउ कैन वी हेल्प यू?
जी सर, मैं हिंदी में बात कर सकता हूँ?
श्योर. आपका सवाल क्या है सर?
जी सर, मेरा सवाल ये है कि एक्सिस इक्विटी सेवर एक नया फंड अभी लॉन्च हुआ है अगस्त महीने में.
ओके.
ठीक है, उसमें सर मैं हर महीने 1000 रुपीज इन्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ, तो क्या ये फंड अच्छा रहेगा?
ओके. ऑलराइट. Pretty straightforward query coming across. What's your take?
विपुल जी, कितने दिनों के लिए इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं? क्या लक्ष्य क्या है आपका? क्यों इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं?
जी सर, मेरा इसमें 2 से 3 साल का है कि 2 से 3 साल तक मैं इसमें SIP की तरह से इन्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ.
और फिर क्या करेंगे उन पैसों का?
जी सर, बस ये एक सेविंग की तौर पे, क्योंकि मैंने इससे पहले म्यूचुअल फंड में कुछ किया नहीं है, ये पहली बार ही मैं कर रहा हूँ.
ठीक है. सो जो फंड आपने कहा है, ये एक डायनामिक एलोकेशन फंड है, यानी कि इसमें डेट और इक्विटी की जो मात्रा है वो उनके बताए हुए फॉर्मूला, उनका जो डिस्क्लोज्ड फॉर्मूला है उसके मुताबिक वो डेट कम ज़्यादा होता है. यानी थोड़ा सा ये फंड, अगर मार्केट ऊंचा होता है तो ये इक्विटी में एक्सपोजर कम करता है, और अगर मार्केट नीचा होता है तो इक्विटी में एक्सपोजर ज़्यादा करता है. मैक्सिमम इक्विटी का जो एक्सपोजर इसमें है 45% है. तो 2-3 साल के जो आपका जो नजरिया है उसके लिए ये ठीक है. फिर भी आपका अग्रेसिव व्यू पॉइंट है तो ही इसमें डालिएगा. वैसे फंड एकदम नया है, ये अगस्त में ही लॉन्च हुआ है, तो कोई ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड इसका नहीं है प्रूव करने के लिए. अगर आप ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड वाले फंड में डालना चाहते हैं तो सिमिलर फंड्स हैं, दूसरे फंड हाउसेस के सिमिलर फंड हैं, जैसे ICICI प्रू का बैलेंस्ड एडवांटेज फंड है जो सिमिलर सा है, या HDFC का भी बैलेंस्ड एडवांटेज फंड है. ये भी आप देख सकते हैं अगर आपको ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड, पास्ट ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड भी देखना हो तो.
ऑलराइट विपुल.